Hey everybody, Texas Stroker here, Lance's Performance Shop, LoneStarMopars.com. I tell you right now, if I were to turn this camera around, you would be smiling. And you would be smiling because of the cheesy grin on my face. Now, most important thing we need to address, you've probably seen the title, and you've seen the title slide, and you saw it said KC Tool Haul 43, and you're thinking, wait, wasn't it like 34 or 35 just a couple weeks ago? What went on? What did I miss? You haven't missed anything. This is one of those times I'm expediting things for you. We're just going to jump right ahead. It's Thursday night. I'm recording this right now. You're going to see it in 2 days. And I think it's something that you're either going to really, really like, or you're at least going to be interested in. And it's something also that I don't think a lot of people are going to be familiar with. So, first order of business past that note, Thursday, I had a channel update video I released. I covered VHA's big deal. It's good for the months of July and August. I've brought some of that stuff in. You've seen some of it already. It was brought in when it was brand new, not on sale. But then the rest of it that I've brought in, you'll see some of it, but not all of it before, like Labor Day, when it would be null and void in terms of you scoring it at the sale promotional prices. So I thought that would be cruel and evil, so I made the channel update in part to tell you that. Also had some interesting questions in there for you if you want to see automotive content, wiring, body panel replacement, EFI, chain hoists over trusses in a shop. If anyone's done anything like that, let me know. Might build a gantry crane. All kinds of crazy stuff in there. One of the things that you, watching this tool haul, would be most interested in, I'm wanting to know your thoughts on how to test our ever-growing collection of number 2 Phillips screwdrivers. I've got some ideas of my own, but if you have anything of interest, I want this to be something that A, you would enjoy, and B, you can replicate. So if we come in and some screwdriver that you think sucks turns out to perform really well, I want you to be able to go out and buy that driver and see the same results that I generate here. So any ideas there, let me know. I don't want to spend a ton of time on that. Shout out to this little guy. I've used it quite a bit, but yesterday I had a friend come over, which is why I couldn't make this video last night when I wanted to. And the rocker panels on our car were coming off, so the little Stavilla trim tool, fan-diddly-tastic for that. Now, KC Tool Haul 43. Let's go ahead again. I told you it's Thursday night. It's rained today. It's really hot in here. Not like hot like it's been, but humid hot, which is weird for us. Do you see the time? Does that look like 9:45 now that it's focused? It is, but it's also not. It's hammer time. That is right. If you're like me, you frequently check KC Tool, you see what they have that's new or on clearance or something sneakily has been added to a sale or promotion. You might have also just been stocking the mini Cobras, which would be even minier than this pair of mini Cobras. Maybe it's the ratcheting driver from Hazette's. Maybe something else that's going to come in, or there's something you're constantly looking to see if it's in stock type of a deal. That's what I do. When I get free time at work, which is basically lunch, that's when I come in and I check this stuff. And needless to say, one day I was in for quite the surprise. Placed the order immediately that day. I think I stayed after work and just literally got it cranked out then. And needless to say, we have the German sticker tool pack because we exceeded the $100 threshold. Again, you get that with $100. $50 nets you free freight, which we also got. Every single order, we've got a bit of thanks, regardless of how expensive or non-expensive it may be. They're currently back to the stamped Philo bits, which is probably my favorite that they've done. We also have a new Vera flyer. I'm not going to spend any time on that because hopefully we'll get to hit it soon, because this stuff here is pretty cool. So, if the title didn't tell you, if I didn't have it in the thumbnail somehow, or if you're unsure what any of it was, if I did, we've got 2 new lines of tools at KC Tool. Not new releases, not mini Cobras, not something brand new from Hazette or VHA. This is 2 new lines, right? So, going with hammer time, we have Picard, which many of you are probably familiar with, and then we've got, I guess, a popular mallet over in Germany, which would be Halder. Now, I could be botching the pronunciation. Maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong. But that's what I'm rolling with, because, again, I've not seen any videos on this stuff, and it's brand new at KC Tool. Again, I got it in before they even released it, and then I think it was yesterday, Tuesday or Wednesday of this week, they came in with like their formal announcement that they actually had the stuff. For those of you that don't stock the website for whatever reason, that might be. So, what we're going to do, I'm going to try to kind of go through this in typical tool haul style. But then if there's anything you want to see or we want to explore in greater detail, I can insert that on like another Saturday video. If you haven't noticed, I try to do a KC tool haul every other week when applicable. Sometimes it doesn't happen, sometimes they're back to back. But I typically have, like, something else to break it up, kind of keep you on the edge of your seat, which is totally ruined now. But if this is a deal and you're like, you got to show how this thing works, or, do something with it, just drive nails for 5 minutes, we don't care. Let me know. I can easily make that happen and insert it into the lineup. But what I'm going to do is, I guess, grab the tool of the day, because while I'm there, why not cash in on the tool of the day, right? Which, sadly, this little guy is not going to get a lot of love right now, but it is from Hazette. It was pretty cheap. Let's get my paperwork over here. And it was priced at $10.41 standard tool of the day. It was like way cheaper than that, which is why you get tool of the day. But if you note, this is a titanium nitride #2 Phillips, but quarter drive socket, right? And the thing looks so much better in person than it does online. I think we have to take just a little bit of time to actually showcase this sucker. This is beautiful. This is like a work of art in hand. On the website it looked good, but it did not look this good. And needless to say, it's a bit overkill, but I guess if we've ever got a head that's really intact but seized up a little bit, we can give this a go before we maybe bust out an impact, or maybe hit it with an impact, and then just go to town with a quarter drive ratchet. So if you want to see that in further detail, I'll accommodate you, but not now, because we have big things to get to. So I'm going to go grab a handful of stuff and just throw it on this mat. There we go. So let's get rolling, shall we? I should probably structure this so we can kind of get through it quicker. Now again, if I am pronouncing this right, Halder, probably one of those two is at least close, right? We're just going to roll with that. But essentially, if these look strange to you, they probably should, but they're mallet heads or faces, whatever you want to call them, right? We're going to have similar part numbers for these. Now, what I opted, they have obviously varying sizes of a face, right? You could have something giant, you can have something really small. I went with a 1.57. That's the measure out on it. The reason for that, I thought it would be useful. I've got rubber mallets. I'm kind of, this is brand new to me. I don't know if I'm going to love it or hate it. And so this was sort of the economical entry point, and I think it will actually be useful regardless, because I don't have anything of this size with various faces I can interchange. So what we're going to do is come in, and right here, there's your part number. Again, in my videos, I have the timestamps with links to this product. If you see this mallet and you've got to go get it, and you want this face in particular, or 10 of this face, I have it linked. I do that solely for your convenience. The part number right there, 3202.040. That translates to KC Tool. They would just have an HA in front of it for Halder. This is their simplex. This is all going to be from their simplex line, which we'll try to explain in a little bit better detail later, although I haven't done much research on it. I'm just excited to get it in. And this is a black rubber face, alright? So it's actually fairly hard through the plastic bag anyway. Price point on that sucker would be $650. Coming up next, we've got this one right here, 3203.040. This is called their mid-gray rubber. And this one is called non-marring specifically. So maybe, like if we had a really nice finish on something and we hit it with that, we could potentially streak it. And apparently this one, we don't run that risk. So, kind of think of it as black would stain and gray will not. Might be a simple way for you to keep it intact there. Coming up next, again, I'm trying to get through this because there is a lot to cover, so just bear with me here. We've got part number HA3206.040, which is right here. This one I'm super stoked about. Why? It is red, and does that look like an acetate screwdriver to you, like kind of the phyllo tack claw we brought in? Well, it should, because that's basically what I believe it is. And it just looks really cool. Obviously, it would look even cooler out of the bag, but again, trying to save you time. Now, 3207.040. This is going to be what they call their super plastic insert. It would be $12. So we'll set that one down, and then lastly at 3208.040, we have their very hard nylon at $12.75. So if you note, the part numbers here, as I have them laid out, and this is one of the reasons I left them in the bag, kind of ascend. Okay, so we've got 3202, 3203, 3206, 3207, and 3208. Price points also correspondingly ascend. Starting at the base here with the black rubber, we've got $650. The non-marring mid-gray rubber, $725. Our red hard plastic, $925. I think there may be a red, one of these numbers that we skipped, like 4 or 5, I believe, is like a red plastic that's not hard plastic, so I selected this one. Hopefully that was a good choice. 3207 is going to be the super plastic, and it is the white 157, $12, and then top dog in terms of prices is the very hard nylon for $12.75. So essentially here, the more adjectives, the more costly the face is. Now, these are fantastic. They're items of interest. You're probably intrigued by some of them. Might want to see them out of the bag, but some of you are like, hey, where's the freaking mallet, buddy? You know, what good are all of these interchangeable faces if you don't have a mallet? Well, that's what I'm going to try to pick up for you. Alright, so I had to sort some stuff out on the hood of the Duster there. But, what I selected, and let me tell you, there are some options. We have part number 3701.040, and this is going to be the heavy-duty reinforced handle. I opted for fiberglass. If I'm not mistaken, there is acacia, which that's going to be a wood. If you have kids or you play Minecraft or whatever, you probably know of acacia wood. And then we've got, I want to say hickory, and then we've got the reinforced fiberglass. That's obviously what I opted to go with. And then the housing, you've got a couple of different options, and you can go cast, you can go reinforced cast, and you can go aluminum. I think those might be your 3 choices. And what do you think I did? Take your picks now. Alright, acacia, hickory, fiberglass, aluminum cast, or reinforced cast. Make your guesses now. Almost all of you probably scrolled down and cheated, but this is what I did. Alright there, I think she looks pretty good, I must say. This is, again, 3701.040. And what this one is, if you can't tell, that is the fiberglass reinforced handle. And I also have the reinforced head. I figured if we were going for this, we just as well do it proper. And then, of course, this head here you have not seen laid out before you. This is their blue one. Again, I'll probably make a standalone on this just to kind of explain it to you a little bit better. But let me try to use fingernails. Get this guy freed on his new continents where he's about to go to work. That's right. This is one of the, depending if the fence falls apart, you know, that might expedite one of the hammers we have. But I have a job for this guy pretty much right off the bat this weekend. So if I get to change my differential fluid, which kind of depends if I can get the gear oil or not, probably going to get to knock a cover off, and I'm going to use this thing. And it's going to be a step up from my typical rubber mallet, I do hope. But this feels fantastic in hand right here. Oftentimes with mallets, I'll actually do this. I'm not going to town, obviously, just something subtle. This is kind of how I hold things. It's just what I've done with my life. Whether it's wrong or incorrect, who knows, but it works for me. Realistically, though, if we are really going to town, we're going to grip down here. And while this is not like NWS, you know, pillow foam memory type of deal, it is a very positive textured grip. The way this looks in camera, I would tell you that's how it feels. If that makes any sense to you, if you think, oh, I think I know what that would feel like. That's pretty much it. It is not soft. It's just kind of a black textured grip. And I do have to say, I kind of like it. It's not objectionable at all in my gloved hand. You know, that kind of mitigates, you know, the rises in it. But bare palm here, you can really kind of feel it. You can grip down. This is a bit heavier than you would think it would be. Again, keep in mind, if you want super lightweight, you can go with the aluminum option. But essentially, the way this thing works, okay, we're going to come in, and I'll probably make a standalone on this just to get you through this. You know, some of you want like the 2-hour tool haul. Some of you prefer the quick version. I never know which one's going to have the greater majority, so I just kind of wing it every single time. And we can come back and cover things in greater detail, which I believe we will do because I do think this is worthy of that. But it looks fantastic. I cannot wait to try it out. Like I said, that could be this weekend if I can actually find the gear oil. Big issue getting parts. If anyone's like tried to do anything recently automotive wise, yeah, there's some supply chain breaks going on, and it kind of screws with your plans sometimes. So basically, in a nutshell, if we use this and we love it, right, and we think, well, you know, we kind of need the non-marring rubber, or maybe that mars something, or maybe it's getting chewed up, we need something harder. You got a hex bolt there. We come in, we take, or Allen head, whatever you want to call it, you know. We come in and we take that out. These basically slide out. We put the others in and we tighten her back down, and we've got whatever assortment here we want to create. Now, obviously, I don't want to come in and buy duplicates of everything because I don't know what I'm going to like, what's going to work well for me. This is my test bed. This is for me to figure out what's going to work well and what I'm going to have good luck with. And we will take it from there. So I do believe probably maybe this coming Saturday we'll just go ahead and showcase this in greater detail. So I can change that if you just want to see the Picard hammer, you know, go to town on some nails, I'll do that. If you want to see this thing, kind of how it works, how it functions, what the different heads do, throw some ideas out there. I'll try to make it happen for you. But I believe what I'm going to do now is to save time, try to set up what's coming, and then we'll run through the Picard stuff. So we're about 16 minutes deep. We've probably got a good 16 minutes or so at least left, and that's if I breeze through. So let's clear the table and start anew. What? You're disappointed? Why? So, many of you are sitting here and you're saying, that's not Picard, that's not Halder, what's going on? This is a Ghidorah mallet, you know, seems familiar. Well, it should. I don't remember how long ago I brought this thing in, but I love it. It's one of my favorite purchases, in all honesty. And the reason for that is the versatility of the head and the versatility I pick up with this. I mentioned to you I have a cheap rubber mallet here. We got nice ones at work, and we go through them really quick. But this little soft face cap has been amazing. It's typically always on, this thing, I'm not going to lie. A couple of times I pulled it off and we've gone to town with the thing regular, but I typically keep the soft face on it. Now it was this Saturday, I think. I had a buddy out here, we're using the cherry picker. I had it rolled up because I had to go between two cars, which was a really tight fit, but it happened. But bottom line, we need to get the pins back in. And I pretty much tweaked the frame whenever I was having to jump on it to pull the motor from the truck, which you see firsthand in the Ram Revival. But I took the soft face cap off so I could literally beat the pins in through the legs of the cherry picker. And I got mine in, and I handed him the hammer, and he was like, you know, he kind of grabbed it and kind of stopped, and then he took a swing, and then he stopped and he looked, and he was like, this is a nice hammer. I said, you're dang right it is. And I have come very close to picking up another one of these solely to leave this one in soft cap mode because it's that good with the soft face. The Hazette one, I nearly picked it up I think about twice now. And truth be told, I probably would have very soon picked it up if not for Picard showing up. So, the head on this thing, it's been through. I mean, it's not too bad, you know, but you can tell she's been used. It backs up my story. And the soft face, surprisingly, I mean, I guess if you were here, you'd see all the gashes in it, but it honestly looks really good. And what I'm able to do with this sucker is plug it in, and I think I'm going to get to leave it like this because Picard has come to town, and I just threw it in my pocket. That's why I couldn't find it. I've got this thing right here. Let's throw it down for you. That is right. With Picard, there are a ton of different handles. And there were a lot of hammers I wanted, and they're quite expensive, some of them. And I was trying to debate how to get like the best selection to show you what they have and still also pick up different handle styles. So some of this might not be exactly what I would have done, but I was wanting to try it all and get it showcased as well. So this is what I came up with. We're just going to run through it. But this sucker right here is going to be their 327, which if you type that in, you'll find all sorts of options, including the weight. This is 300 grams. This is what they would call their Black Tech. This would be their Black Tech cross-peen riveting hammer with a fiberglass handle. It is the German pattern, and again, 300 grams. Price point on this was $23.60. I think I may have skipped some prices on the Halder stuff. We will have that down below for your convenience. But right here, this thing is light. Like when I grab it, it's just, you think like, just looking at it, you're like, oh, that's going to be heavy. And it's not. It's like featherweight almost. And it feels really good in hand. This one has a little bit I wouldn't say it's soft either, but it's more of like a comfort finish than the Halder mallet. That thing's kind of more for grip, so you don't send it flying type of a deal. This one's kind of more for, I guess, reverb and comfort. But right here, if we pay attention to the particulars, we can see we've got the 300 gram fiberglass. I can assume, I can guess my translation there. We got the English-based warning sign there. But look at the head. Very, very similar to the Gador, just, you know, brand new and obviously smaller. So, again, black tech, which, orange and black, if you didn't know, some of you may know. Black and blue, I'm a big fan of. Orange and black, equally a fan. So that works out quite nicely for me. Now, what I have to do is grab something which I thought I'd set. And I don't know, there it is. Alright, there's hammers everywhere. You would understand if you were here. So what we're going to do is cut this thing open. Now this, I believe, is the lowest priced. No. That would have been the lowest priced at $23.60. This one comes in at $28.54, and this would be an engineer's hammer. All right. So what I want to do is cut this sucker open, and you're going to notice some similarities to, I believe, the Black Tech and the Gador that we just had here. So go ahead. Probably should have opened these ahead of time. But, oh man, this is nice. This is very nice. Okay, so we're going to drop her down. Check that out. You're thinking, what? Fiberglass, but doesn't that look like the hickory? Yes, it is. It's hickory. There's coming into view. You can see the orange there, and then boom. This is a 500 gram engineer's hammer, and if that sounds familiar, it should, because that's literally what our Gador one was. And this one, though, again, $28.54. It is the Picard 12. They call it their riveting Secutech hammer with hickory handle. And again, it's like an engineer's hammer to me, so that's what I'm going to roll with. Part numbers are a little longer for the Picard stuff. It's like 000-1202-0500 for this guy. But you'll note, profile-wise, 300 versus 500, very similar heads. Slightly longer length, obviously fiberglass versus, you know, the hickory coupled handle. We've got the finish here, which again looks eerily similar to the Gador and the Hazette. Does not, Gador, you just saw it, it's got kind of the different colored finish. The Hazettes kind of have their classic trademark teal. This, though, I don't know if I've just used mine so much, but this is very, I don't want to say slick, but it's got a good feel to it. It's not slippery, but you can glide your hand if you wanted to. It's a very nice finish. A little bit more tack than just the stained wood, but I'm thinking I'm going to love this thing, and what I'm going to do, there it is. I tell you, there's too many hammers to keep tabs on them. We're going to set that right there. Now, when we get German tools, we often say, like, well, do they really make that, you know, or is it just rebranded? And given that Picard seems to be, you know, the hammer manufacturer, the maker of hammers, I'm inclined to say they probably make this for Gador, and Gador's looks an awful lot like Hazette. And they probably make Hazettes too. I'm sure some of you already know. If you do, feel free to leave that knowledge down below. But you be the judge real quickly here. Change a few colors, change some, you know, labeling, and swap. Okay, this will tell you right now. When you get this thing on there, it is oftentimes on there. And requires some effort to get off, which is actually a good trait. So, will it fit or won't it fit? I'm going to say she fits. Real nice, in fact. So, that tells me what I need to know to kind of make a logical assumption there. And hopefully it tells you the same. But, for now, the face on this Gador will forever be preserved in this current condition that you see right there. There's a good look at her for you. We're going to throw her back down. And I think it's going to live a pampered life with a soft face. Why? Because it already had the soft face on it, and I'm going to see how this one holds up. I think they are identical, so it should be good. Now, moving on, what do we want to do? Let's go with this one. That's what we're going to do. We're going to come in right here, And this sucker is what they're going to call their part number 820. This is the Black Giant. Their part number will be 0082010. Fairly expensive. It set me back $46.68. There were some things though that I couldn't really pass it up. You know me, kind of curiosity gets the best of me. And again, this is brand new. I've never experienced, I've never gotten to live vicariously through someone else's video. And I just sort of had to pull the trigger. And, I am a bit excited about this one. So, Black Giant, that was this one. You know, that's kind of your typical engineer's hammer. Then we've got the Black Tech. And right here, we're going to drop down with the Black Giant. So, this is sort of more like something you might see at Home Depot, like an S-Wing or something like that. Swap your colors around. This is a very common pattern, it seems, for hammers. Comfortable, not soft, grippy. You know, it's going to wick moisture from your hand a little bit with the holes, kind of grate everything down. They've got the Picard logo right there. Again, black and orange. Can never go wrong with that color combination. The catch is, this is one of those funky, like roofing hammers, carpenter roof type of a deals. Again, I'm a metal guy, not gonna lie. I prefer metal over wood. I deal with wood quite a bit. Pallets at work. The fence always falling down because we have 80-mile-an-hour winds quite frequently. Things along those lines. But this is something I've never had. I've never used anything like it. Obviously, we've still got the claw, so you can use it in a traditional sense. I think this is kind of to rip, if I'm not mistaken. Like, let's say that we were doing more carpentry work, or I pick up like some junk house and it's got knob and tube wiring and I decide to demolish it. This would be a great hammer for that because I could rip much easier. It's almost like having a pry bar of sorts. You can come in, ratchet it off, and it's going to work better than your typical clawed hammer, I suppose. I could be totally mistaken on there. I am not a hammer expert. I'm just kind of using practical reasoning of what I would do. A lot of people would look at it and be like, oh, the thing's broken. This is how it's built. That's how they're designed. Again, you get your function there for your nails. And then I do believe this, you can kind of just like stab and break. So, you know, whichever route you want to go. If you're going to shove it under and use it for leverage, if you want to just throw it down through like rotted wood, you could probably do whatever you want. However, aside from all that, which I will probably attempt using, you know, as soon as I get the chance, this has two features yours truly has never had in a hammer, at least that I can remember. One of them is right here. It is the checkered face. All right. Obviously, driving nails home all the time, you're going to have less chance of it ripping off or you missing. It's going to kind of catch the head of the nail, so you get like a better hit, essentially. Again, I could be totally wrong. That's just what I'm assuming. If I had to sit here and think, why would we ever do that? Put waffle weave on the head? It would be because it's going to catch the nail head, and instead of like slipping down and you getting like the bottom third, it's going to stop, and you're going to get 2/5 instead. All right, 40% versus 33%. The other thing I have never had in a hammer ever, and I've wanted it for quite some time because it would actually be useful for me, is right here, a magnetic nail set. And if you're unaware, typically, you know, what us plebeian folk like myself prior to this video did, and the nails come out, which I'm not going to lie, you know, I shoot screws through because it's superior connection, but, you know, sometimes, like, I do a quick check and I'll just come along the outside and I'll just drive nails in. And if you know that nails are going to pop out and they're not going to be there because you do this all the time and the winds do that, then you might carry some nails with you. And when you do that, you know, if I come in and, like, let's say it's rotten wood and the 2x4 behind the plank or something, I scoot over a little bit and I see if maybe I can get like a small section that's still good and hasn't rotted. And if I do that, it's just the classic style that you always had to do whenever you drive a nail. You hold it, you tap it and get it started, then you can release your hand so you don't hit yourself really hard, and then you go and you drive her home, right? With this, I essentially come in, I mitigate ever having to do this and tap my nail on accident. We set the nail down, we have it anchored there, we drop her, that drives the nail instantly, then we come up and we drive the nail as if we had never had to start it manually. So, those are the two things that I'm excited about. This one here, I'm actually kind of interested in. I don't know how frequently I'll use it. This will either be something that I never use, or I'll never buy another hammer that's normal again because I'll prefer it, and I honestly don't know which way I'm going to fall. So the main thing for me, I wanted to try a checkered face, I wanted a nail setter, and as a perk, I guess we can kind of see what this back end is all about. So for the average person, I think what I described would be adequate in terms of how I would use it. Whether that's correct or not, it's exactly what I'm going to do. But if you use these hammers all the time, if you know exactly the whole history, feel free to share it, because I would venture to guess there's an awful lot of people that would not know. So regardless, though, that is exactly what I'm going to do until the tool tells me otherwise. That's the way I'm going to roll. Now, the other selling point, once again, I've told you now, I love black and orange. Black Giant to the rescue. All right. So again, Black Tech, Black Giant. That's kind of your big differential there. So we're going to come in now. This is something I could not pass up, and I think I'm going to get pretty good use out of it, and I might wind up loving the thing. But let me find it on my sheet of paper over here. This one is going to be obviously from Picard, and it is going to be part number 0030490. This one is 600 grams. It set me back $33.67. And as I cut away at the plastic here, there were really three things that pulled me in to this hammer, and it came with an extra protective piece of plastic that you can see here. Number one, all right, just to get the boring stuff out of the way, is the handle. Okay, it looks very similar to the style on the Black Giant, but obviously we've got black and blue, which, hey, you know, what about those colors, right? And don't tell me that aesthetics aren't important. They draw your eyes in. Whether it's something that you would never use or not, you're like, oh, that looks cool, because it's what you prefer. Obviously, if you're like a lime green or a sublime person, not up your alley. You're probably like, hey, show me those Stavila scissors again real quick. But it does, you know, it works to catch your eye one way or another. Some people will hate the Black Giant. Some people will love this. Some people will hate both of them. Some of you, like me, have awesome taste and will find both of these to be attractive tools. But that was of interest to me. The second part that I was really interested in was the round face. Okay, so this is a little bit more substantial. It's more of a different design. It's almost like a standard claw hammer on slight steroids, you know, like undetectable or something. And just a little bit different of a face. Separates it again from our engineer's hammers here, right? You've got square versus round, essentially. It looks like it's going to be insanely durable, I think, past me just grinding on it or abusing it or something insane. This is like an heirloom quality, just from my initial impressions, seeing it online, seeing it in person, and then holding it. This is something, when I'm gone from this earth, hopefully somebody that will use this acquires this, whether that's my nephew or, you know, someone in an estate sale or some criminal. This better not go to the pawn shop. They better keep this, because it is nice. So you're probably thinking like, okay, well, you know, what's the other side? Is it like steel? Is it brass? Oh, that'd be kind of neat. You know, I haven't seen one of those. I bet that's something those crafty Germans would do with their efficiency and all that. Well, there's the Picard logo once again down there. Let's check this out. All right. Now, I'm thinking you could quite literally use this as the name would imply, but I've got some other ideas. So when I spin this around, you're thinking, oh, is that like a weird claw or a pick of some sort? Pick, you're getting there. If I throw it down here, you're like, well, that's just like sheared off. Is that solid? Well, it's 100% solid. So what do they call this? What did you say that part number was? The 304? That's 100% right. If you type that in, you're going to see this is called a chisel hammer. Okay. I'm pretty sure the intended use of the backside of this sucker is actually like mining. You know, I guess like the average person maybe crack open a geode or something, which I think would be really good for that. But I guess like short scale mining maybe. I could be mistaken, you know, doing some light chiseling. But here's what I have in mind. And this, I don't know, if this really is intended to chisel, it might not be too bad. But I deal with old cars, right? I'm into old Mopars. And you either get something that's restored and costs a bunch of money, which I can't afford, Or you get something that's kind of beat up and rusty, most likely. Or even if it's like from a rust-free state, the trunk floor is probably gone or something along those lines. And pulling body panels is kind of a pain in the butt, like floor pans and whatnot. Literally what I plan to do. I'll know real quick if it's a good idea or not. But essentially, on a Chrysler, you come in, and if this is my frame rails, right? We've got the frame rail here, floor pan, trunk floor, whatever in the middle. Well, I got to come in with spot weld cutters and get all that crud out, but there's usually like chunks just missing, and you got rust and scale, and you need to like level it, right? You don't want to come in and, like me and my torn up jeans, I don't want to have to go get like a tetanus shot, because I didn't prep things well. And what I mean by that is like when metal rusts, like breaks and flakes and fractures, and it doesn't just stay flat and disappear, it like crumbles up, and you've got ridges and rises and crevices. And so before you come in and put your knees down on that, you need to kind of deck her down, right? What I'm going to try to do with this is actually flip it and come in on the seams of panels and see if I can like break through. And if I can, we could potentially go to town. Now, typically this is when I actually fire up the air compressor. I've told you before, I get like a weird satisfaction of doing things manually. I don't manually enjoy cutting out rusted floor pans. I'm not going to lie, that's when we go pneumatic. The compressor's firing and you can't hear me, right? But this right here, I'm at least going to give it a go to get me set up, to come in and comfortably work without having to like worry about, I'm about to, lean forward on my knees ever so slightly and have a piece of metal, go 3 inches into my skin. And, if this works there, that's going to be awesome. I am also tempted, do a little bit of rock hunting from time to time. It'd kind of be cool to see what this does to a geode. So, if you know the intended and actual purpose of this chisel hammer, let me know. But I gotta say, even if all of this backfires, if it's a total wash and I never use this side, or I tried to and it didn't work like I wanted it to, and I'm embarrassed and have a bad experience with it, I'm gonna use the snot out of this face. And I'm excited about that. Plus, I gotta say, this thing feels great in hand. It's got some heft to it. It's a little heavier than these others, and I think it's going to be good for anything like driving seals in, working on rear ends when you're kind of breaking them down, all kinds of stuff. So it's something different than what I had, and I am going to give it a go. So on that front, you're probably thinking like, okay, I'm a little familiar with Picard. There's an item that I would have brought in that this guy hasn't shown us yet. Wonder if he just didn't have a need for it, or thought it was too expensive, or was just too geeked out about these engineers' hammers. He's already got one. Like, what's the deal? Well, don't be disappointed, because we're going to come in right here, and I'm going to throw it down for you. This is from Picard, obviously. It is their part number. Let me track it down for you. 701, all right? And then the exact one, because there are several variants of the 701, is 100701260-000. It was in a smaller bag. And we can go back up there and slide down again. Cursey little bag. Right here. You're like, it's not a hammer. What are you doing? Well, there were a couple of items that did not make it here, but don't worry, there's still a good one coming. But this is one of them that did. This is something I didn't know they made. They didn't, they actually did have a picture of this. They didn't, I think, when I first saw it, and then by the time I got to come back and turn my order in, they had updated it. Because this was all going down. When you stock a website, you see these things happen. And, this is from Picard, 701. Price point on this thing before we go forward, $18.62, right? So, you're probably thinking like, what's that? Oh, it's your orange and black, loser. And for everyone here that hates orange, you're like, yeah, well, that's a strange looking hammer. It's like, can't do anything with something that small. Is it heavy? No, it's not heavy. Check this out there. Anyone getting excited yet? Hopefully you are, because I am. Obviously, oh my. Okay, this is really nice. If you don't know yet, this is obviously a knife. And, did you know Picard make knives? If you didn't, now you do. So right there, if we flip her back around, you've got Picard name, logo. You got the part number, just like I told you. I don't lie to you. 70126-000. You can see we don't just have one blade, but we seem to have two things going on here. Flip her around, boom, we got a pocket clip. Not too tight, not too loose. That's a good sign. You can see the fasteners there. This is apparently made in Germany. Sometimes with things like this, you don't know for sure. I also have never used this puppy. But check that out. Essentially, we've got a razor blade that is not locked in place. It does have a protective cover on it. And then on this front, what do we have? We've got the real blade. And, oh snap! That is fancy. That's a little extra, is it not? I sure think so. Now, if you didn't know, I've done the German cable knife comparison. I still need to film that into it because we've kind of tacked on a few more that I haven't really included. But I kind of made my decision, and I've been using it. It's in my pocket, and it's absolutely filthy. But spoiler alert, the winner is the one that I've opted to use at work and just carry with me all the time. This is something I might have to give a go. Again, I was trying to get away from a Klein that I had that was actually a decent knife, but it was just like so bulky in my pocket. This is a bit bulky, but it's not too terrible, especially considering the fact if I want to cut rope, okay, I'm going to use this blade. If I want to break down boxes, I'm going to use this that's a replaceable blade. That way I'm not having to subjugate, my fancy awesome blade, like the wow factor blade, for mundane tasks like tearing down cardboard. And which that's where this Milwaukee, this is the weirdest thing ever. The one that I have here at the house is amazing. This is still the original blade. I have not changed. I haven't even switched sides. I bought one just like it with the same 50 pack of blades. And I took that to work, and that thing sucks. It's terrible. I don't know what the deal is. Typically, razor blades are made in America or Israel or something. They're typically, you don't get bad ones. And that thing has lasted an eternity. Every box I get in here, it is broken down, and I get a lot of boxes. And then at work, I use it all the time, and it's terrible. And I actually quit using it because it sucks so bad, and I can't explain it. Because, it's not like it's a defect, it's just like the blades suck. I don't know how else to describe it, and it's like the same item. I got it from the same Home Depot. But anyway, that's another story for another day, but that's why I'm continually kind of like subtly investing in this type of stuff, right? Seeing what I like. But I gotta say, this is a sweet looking setup here. And again, the benefit to me, this is like the wow factor blade that I'll use for like cutting rope and the nylon straps and everything. And then instead of tearing cardboard with it, I'm just going to use this one. This will go through tape, this will go through packing material, cellophane, all that stuff. And then I'm going to keep the razor blade side exclusively for boxes unless I'm lazy and open it first and use it for tape too. But that's my plan. The other thing that's really strange, all you people in Europe always tell me like, well, we can't have locking blades, right? Well, guess what? This one actually, she actually locks, so can't really use my thumb that well. But it seems to be, yeah. I'm having a hard time. Yeah, my thumb is just like too messed up still. It doesn't look that bad anymore, but things like this I can't do. Finally, I got it. That hurt way more than it should, but it actually locks, which I was under the impression you couldn't do that. Maybe if it's under a certain size you can. In Europe, in America, it doesn't matter. I'm in Texas. I can carry a machete if I want to. So this is going to be an interesting little setup. There are instructions there on how to seat the blade and change it, I presume. Nice little, kind of a unique set screw, really. We should probably spend more time on this guy. But it's cool it came with the protector. It's cool it came with the blade. And again, I'll probably throw one of those ones from Milwaukee when this one goes dull, because apparently I got the super batch right there. But there that is. Again, there are a couple other Picard items. Maybe a mallet face or two is also out of stock. Don't hold me to that, but that might explain the gap in the part numbers. The blue one is likely one of them. And I think there might have been the other red plastic. I don't know. I feel like I did have one on order. So if that comes in, we'll showcase it in that tool haul. But you didn't miss anything too crazy. But what you are missing is probably what you're really expecting to see if you were at all familiar with Picard prior to this. And I've not held it with my own hands. I'm going to come in and grab it right here. It is the most expensive item by far. It'll get you free freight. Depending on how you option it, you might get a sticker pack too, just with this one item. I'll admit, it's pretty expensive. And, the true story is, with hammers, okay, and this is probably a video for another time, but with hammers, you can get American-made hammers for a really good price, and they're really good hammers, right? Like, I love Estwing. I have a lot of their stuff, their sledges. That's why I didn't bring in one of the sledges. Like, I love the one that I have. It's like perfect, a little 3-pounder. I've got a couple of their hammers. You know, obviously they're a lot older, but they still function. They're still fine technically. I did not need this. This is sort of something I wanted to see it. I wanted to experience it. I want to see how it stacks up, and I know for a fact many of you are going to want to see it, and will probably also be equally intrigued. Now, when it comes to American hammers, there are some ridiculously expensive things you can do. Like Martinez tools, I've never held one. I've got some friends that do rodeo and ripping type of stuff, and I think one of them has one and loves it. It's kind of one of those deals. Doesn't really bring it out much, I don't think. But this is sort of, when you hear or see Picard, this is the hammer that people typically think of. It is their part number 791. It's going to be 890 grams. I kind of picked an oddball. I wanted something not like super heavy, but also not light. I wanted something that I thought would be ideal for driving nails, because that's what I plan to do with this one. This will be a traditional styled hammer, something you're accustomed to here in America, right? It's got regular claws. It's not something crazy that I don't even know how to fully explain. It doesn't have a chisel end. You know, it doesn't accept soft faces, I'm aware of. It doesn't have the nail holder. It doesn't have the checkered face like our Black Giant here. What this one does have is the pedigree, right? And oh, I just touched it for the first time, and it was an experience, let me tell you. So we're going to lower her down slowly, and we're going to start with the business end here. How about that? So again, the official part number will be 0079100-16, 890 grams of German engineering has descended upon you. I want you to take a look at the head, appreciate the machine finish there, and then come in, got it polished and cleaned up nicely. Again, a regular claw, nothing crazy. Again, no checkered face, no nail setter. But look how thin that becomes right there. Like, that's crazy. And, you know, that's pretty impressive, but you're seeing it now. This, for anyone that had heard of Picard, is probably the handle that you always see. Now, I'm not going to lie. When I was looking at this stuff, you can get this with like a gift box. Well, I believe it's a wooden gift box with like a window that you see through. For all the people that display their tools, or, you know, don't plan to use it, or just want it as a collectible or a display item, go that route. The boxes you can get with the hammer or without. I think they're pretty reasonable, like 16, 20 bucks, something like that. Probably the bigger the hammer, the bigger the box. Price may go up. Don't hold me to that, because I didn't really pay that much of attention. But I'm going to use this thing because I want to know how it performs, how it holds up in the real world. And I'll agree with you, it is probably one of the more beautiful tools we have brought in. This is sort of akin to like with Nipros. It's that type of a wow factor. The issue is it's a hammer, and again, if I was like Carpenter Man, if instead of, you know, being in old Mopars, I was like into antique furniture and refurbishing it and making my own furniture, I would probably hold this in a different light. But at the same time, like a ratchet, like from Nipros or the Stavilla, that's kind of like what really gets me going. This is just beautiful to look at. Well, the sad thing is, I'm going to use it, and I don't know how long it will remain beautiful, but I will always have this video to remind me of what it looked like once upon a time, and I will know if it ever wears out or I want it to look pristine again, I can purchase a new one. So, this is, again, the granddaddy of them all. Price point, $80.72. Again, you could get a couple of really nice Estwings for that. And, they are readily available at Home Depot. Any local mom and pop shop probably keeps even like a cooler selection or would let you order them easier. And again, you can get a really nice hammer for like sub 20 bucks. You know, I'm not just saying that. Like, you can score a fantastic hammer for fractions of what this cost. They're not this visually impressive when they come in. Maybe they'd be more comfortable. Maybe you'd be like, well, I'd rather have another 3 of them. I'd rather have 60 bucks to go buy, you know, a set of screwdrivers or pliers or whatever, put gas in my tank, you know, some fancy dinner for you and your wife. I don't know. But for me, I'm single, and I went this route. So I'm stoked to try this sucker out, and I think you're going to probably want to know what I think of it. Again, I don't do a ton of carpentry stuff. I could take this to work, but the fact of the matter, like, well, I mean, when we make pallets, again, you probably know from what I do with the fence panels here, I shoot screws through them, right? So at work, I come in and I build a pretty good pallet, you know, not to brag, but, you know, I value what I ship out, so I don't want it going on junk. I come in, I've got pressure treated 4x4s. So essentially, when we use the nail gun, it's literally just to kind of set the boards in place, and then I shoot carriage bolts through it. And 5/16, 5.5, and 7 inches what I use. Depends kind of what we're going through, but that's how I do it, except for the small ones. You know, like I do have a smaller pallet that has 2x4 supports, and then I put 1x6s and 1x4s on top. I could probably come in, and instead of using the nail gun and getting it done lickety-splits, I could probably sneak this into work and manually drive some nails home. But, or I'll probably be using this immediately as on the fence. In fact, tomorrow, if I get home from work, it's another 12.5-hour day today. But if I get home at a decent time tomorrow and I have this video edited and done, I'm going to walk the fence line with this sucker, and it's going to be awesome. I wish a lot of you could be there, because you'd probably want to try it out, see what we think of it, but, you know, trying to live vicariously here through this one. But here's the thing, okay, I've only grazed this, and if you're curious, that is leather. That is leather wrapped. It's kind of got the striations. I don't even know how to describe what that feels like, but it feels really good. You can kind of hear that, right? So it doesn't have necessarily the grip of that, but this isn't slippery. This has a nice, I don't want to say tack, but it's not slippery, however you want to eloquently word that to go with this hammer. Right there, you can kind of see the business end where they've got the hex drive, and then up here at the top, there's a good look. There's our kind of dolly curve, the claw, and then just that neck down is insanity. That's really impressive. So typically I'm not accustomed to seeing something that thin on a hammer. It just feels solid. It feels really, really good. It's almost, again, like holding that wooden Nipro screwdriver. I don't think their plastic handled one, you know, would like give that same, you know, aura, if you will. But this thing, I don't care what you think. I don't care if you think this is way too expensive, if you think it should cost 20 bucks, if you're like, oh, you know, go get an American one for fractions of that. Doesn't matter if you're a tool truck person, doesn't matter if you're a Harbor Freight junkie, doesn't matter if you go to Amazon and you try to find things cheaper than Harbor Freight. This is something, just ignoring country of origin, what you prefer, price points. This is just a beautiful tool, and I think everyone can appreciate that. So this will be my standard hammer from Picard, right? This will be the one that I just play with to figure out, you know, what I think of it. And I'm also not going to lie, I might turn out to really like that nail setter. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. Again, I guess I could technically use that with screws. We'll have to see. Just get them started. I don't know. This sucker, I think, has a lot of potential. I really don't know what to expect from this side, but if that bombs and blows up in my face, this one I'm going to like. I love the color. I love the weight, the compact size of this one. This probably feels the best in my hand for the form factor, if that makes any sense out of everything you've seen here. This one I absolutely love. Again, it's 500 grams. I was hoping I was getting the same size because I've been really, really happy with that Ghidorah one, which probably was made by Picard. This one will stay with this face. It's not going to get the soft cap. That's always going to stay on the Ghidorah. That's just what I've elected to do. That way we can kind of keep better tabs on this one. And more importantly, for lazy me, which I gotta say, it is kind of difficult to get the soft cap off, which is a good thing, but now I don't have to. I can have both of the hammers with me on the carts, and I can, whatever I'm doing under the vehicle, if I want a soft face, I grab the Ghidorah. If I want a standard face, we go to town with this one. I will also try to make good use of this guy, because it's just, I mean, you see me pick it up, it's like there's nothing to it. Really, the advantage that's going to give me is just the smaller head profile, right? You know, the handle is slimmer, at least at the top side here. But in terms of everything else, where this hammer may not go and this one definitely wouldn't go, I might be able to wedge this one in some tight spaces with it being fiberglass. Might be a little bit more robust, like if I'm trying to bang on a starter. I could easily chip that hickory, and that would really suck. This one, I don't really run that risk, so, you know, that's another perk of it. It's also pretty inexpensive, and we shall see. You know, I mean, I might turn out to like this handle style better than what I'm accustomed to, but so far, like I told you, I've brought in a lot of stuff from KC Tool, and that Ghidorah Engineer's hammer is definitely one of my favorite purchases. It's by far not the most expensive. It's not the most exotic. Many of you probably even forgot about it, but I've used it a lot. I love it. I have zero complaints with it. It's done everything I wanted it to do and more. My friend that came by, he's a machinist, you know, engine machine, and you know, it's kind of random for someone to praise your hammer, right? So that tells you a lot. It's something, people that use it, you know, they're privy, like, hey, this is a pretty nice little setup here. So that is it. That is what we brought in. This is why I'm expediting this tool haul, because I'm that excited about it. I think you're going to be excited about it, and hopefully you are. Hopefully, if you were having a bad week, maybe your Saturday didn't start off great, maybe your weekend hadn't gone good, hopefully this cheers you up, at least for a little bit in time. Maybe it puts a smile on your face. Maybe it lightens your wallet. I don't know, but this stuff is available. This isn't like something they sent out to me 2 weeks before it's available for everyone else. I just am an idiot that stalks the website and saw it, and I was like, oh, must purchase. And we did, and I could not be more excited. Now, the sad thing is I'm probably set on hammers. I do have, Picard, by the way, makes like really, really nice auto body type stuff, right? I believe it's Marlin, or Martin, I can't remember. I've used one of those hammers, and it was pretty impressive. You know, I was just trying to straighten some metal out. But it was a friend of mine. He was a retired body man. That thing was nice. What do I have for body hammers? Well, I've got a set. I want to say it's Pittsburgh, but don't hold me to that. But it's actually not been bad. You know, again, I'm not doing it full time. It's sort of more of like the hobbyist, you know, straighten, expanding metal, or whatever it might be that I need to do with patch panels. So it's gotten me by. That stuff is pretty pricey from Picard, probably well worth it. But again, what I have and what I've been able to do with it, with the different faces, you know, to kind of shape and bend the metal, I haven't really had complaints with it. So again, I'm probably not using it enough to just realize it sucks. And I also don't have much to compare it to, but it's gotten me by just fine. These will see a lot of use. They're a little bit more versatile. You know, they can do different things. If we had this in a toolbox and we had to patch someone's fence, we can do that. If we had to tear down a pallet, we could do that. If I have these available, I'm going to selectively use and try to cycle through them and see what we think. This right here, though, that is, when you say Picard, that's what I think of. Now, some of you may differ. If you're overseas, you might have a total different impression. But when people say Picard, this is what I picture. Right? When people say Snap-on, I think of a ratchet. When, you know, people say Nipros, I think of a ratchet. When people say Viha, I think of a screwdriver. It's just one of those things. This is what I picture. If somebody said, do you know about Picard hammers? This is what is in my head. This tool right here. And like I said, this is not a pretty little thing that's going to just sit on a shelf somewhere. This is getting used, and we're going to see what we think of it. I want to know, is it like worth it? Will it hold up better? Will it feel better in hand? Will it last longer? I don't know, but we shall find out. I've not really worn out a hammer. I mean, they've gotten old, they get dirty, they get beat up, but you know, I can't think of a time where a traditional hammer like this has just completely let me down. But this one's super fancy looking, and it feels great, so I'm excited to see what it does. But, truth be told, if you had to eliminate one of these based on price, it would probably be this one. But just look at it, you know, it's one of those things. So this one, though, I am kind of interested to see what I think of this whole back end here, because again, I've never had anything like it. That I know I'll love. That should be super handy, and I'm honestly pretty stoked about that guy. Not to be outdone, we've also got this little gem right here. And it's kind of funky holding that after a while, but I'll probably make a standalone on this where I will showcase the heads, the faces of the mounts better. Maybe this coming week or something, if those other faces come in, we'll have that. There's also, again, a couple miscellaneous items we might have from Picard coming as well. But again, I turned that order in the day this stuff was available. And, I wanted to get this out so you would know about it. That way, maybe you're coming in, you're going to cash in on VHA's big deal. You really want like the soft finish Torx drivers. You get the smaller set, you're at $39. Stick on the engineer hammer, you know, stick on the Black Giant, buy your dream hammer, you know, whatever it might be. It is available. So far, none of it has been on Tool of the Day. I was kind of dreading like me coming in and buying all of this, and then like I just have a period of like 3 weeks where like every other day, you know, like first it's the mallet for like 35% off, and then it's the hammer, and you're just sitting there kind of kicking yourself. Typically, because I'm not cheap, I'm thrifty, and I do try to wait for Tool of the Day stuff. But with this, I wanted it. I wanted to test it. I want to see what I think of it. I also wanted to showcase it for you, let you know it's available. And by all means, if any of you rush out and you think, oh, that Black Tech is the ticket, and you get the Giant version, or you come in and you buy one of these Black Giants with a different face or head pattern, come back to the video, tell people what you bought, what you think of it. Is it amazing? Is it, you know, same as your Estwing or whatever brand of hammer you were using? Is it the best thing you've used? Is it ho-hum? Is it the worst hammer you've ever had? First-hand feedback is the most valuable in my opinion. So I'm one man with limited free time, but I will use these. They will all be used. I cannot wait to put them to the test. So it's probably a long video. Hopefully, you know, you've enjoyed it. I think most of you will. But it is 43. It is out of order. Not the end of the world, because this is cool stuff. Brand new tools from new lines. And that's not necessarily new tools, but I mean, it's new to KC Tool, the 2 lines, so it's technically new tools to me and them type of a deal, right? So, plus I threw in the knife on you. You gotta admit, who saw that sucker coming? I bet none of you. If you said you did, you're probably kidding yourself. But let me know, which one of these is your favorite? Which one is you the most interested in? Which one do you think is going to be a dud? Which one do you think is the best? Are you the person that would like, oh, it's too beautiful to use, I don't deserve it, I must return it? Or, oh, it's amazing, you know, I can leave it in my toolbox and look at it, but I can't use it? Let me know where you fall on that spectrum, because again, everything you see here will be used. If I can track down, I can't believe this is even an issue, but if I can get my gear oil, I should be using that this weekend. Or I might pump it and not have to, I don't know. But that will come in handy. It'll definitely get a lot of use. It will be by far my best mallet, far and away. I was always going to buy the VHA one in the kit. Like, it's a steel case and it comes with like their 4 or 5 different faces. I was waiting for Tool of the Day, and subsequently this thing happened, you know. So, might eventually do that. I might get it for work, I don't know. I've got a couple more protos, like old protos. I found a couple, I think 2 years ago, that I didn't even know we had. If I took pictures of the boxes with dust on them, you would see why. But I don't believe they make them anymore, and as soon as that sucker's gone, I'll have an excuse to get work something. So maybe that's when we'll come in and try the VHA stuff. But this thing is impressive. These are impressive. I can't wait to use them. It's hot in here. I haven't had the fan on so it wouldn't blow and make weird noises in the background. But I'm beyond excited. It's not necessarily inexpensive, also not like a rip-off, I wouldn't say. A lot of it was actually very economically priced. Obviously this one's a little on the premium side of the spectrum, but the rest of it, especially like the engineer hammer, the Black Tech, I feel like the mallet you could probably get something comparable for less, but again, I've never used it, so I don't want to pass judgment yet. But the bottom line is, this stuff is cool. I like it. It felt good in hand. My first impressions have been off the charts. And now all we have to do is use it. So, as I said at the start of the video, it is hammer time. And I'm going to get inside. I'm going to try to edit this tonight, so I'll have tomorrow night free, maybe to walk the fence line. Who knows? But I do hope you enjoyed. Definitely let me know your thoughts on this. If you're unaware, if you don't stalk the website or follow them on social media, because I did finally post it, you know, they do have Picard, they have Holder, and you can go to town there. But I'm going to quit rambling. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're having a good Saturday. Hope if you weren't, you are now. LoneStarMopars.com is the website. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you're not subscribed, I encourage you to do so. Ring the bell, jump your charger across the creek. Maybe they'll notify you. If not, every Saturday, we got tool hauls, tool something. Wednesdays we got the Ram Revival, and some weeks we'll throw some other stuff in. So again, check the update video out if you missed it. Looking for feedback on some stuff, automotive content, screwdriver testing, gantry crane versus, you know, chain hoist over a truss type of a deal. You know, nothing major. PTFE cutters. But on that note, as always, thanks so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed it. Hope you are as excited as I am. And like I said, by all means, if you pick something up, come back, let us know what you got, what you think of it. And on that note, have a fantastic weekend, and I will catch you back here in the next one.